Hi folks, thanks for joining me for today's Stillwater pattern. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, and if you're new to the channel, please think about clicking that subscribe button. Your support helps the channel grow and encourages me to keep going with the videos. So what you see in this video is a small bloodworm pattern. It's designed really for the smaller stillwaters and it should catch you a few fish. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise then is a Hanak H260 barbless hook. This one's at size 12, it's on a heavy wire and it's in black nickel. Now what the bead you see on the hook is a Gutermann seed bead at 9.0. Now you can buy these from eBay, they're like £1.50 and I've got a lifetime supply, and whoever my fly tying kit goes to when I move on in this world, I'll have a lifetime supply of Gutermann beads. But they're lovely colour and it's going to do me well for this fly. So I'll just move it out of the way for the moment though, because the first thing I want to do is add some Vivus thread to the hook at this point. It's the 30D GSP. I'm not going to put any super glue or resin on for that matter, as the thread's not going to be on the hook very long. So I'm going to just remove my rat's tail at this point, and what I'm going to do is add some Perdigon silver. It's pearl actually, but I've lost the label so I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's a pearl sort of lurex, very thin, ideal for this pattern. So I've got some here. I'm going to capture in on my side first, like so. I'm going to pull that to the side, and what I'm going to do is create a loop at the front here like that. And then once I've got my loop, I can come in and just remove my waste. Now what I want to do is cast off the Vivus thread now. I'm going to switch threads, so I'll just get a 3-turn whip finish just to bring my thread off the shank. And then I can bring my bead back up, and it's going to go over all that for a later stage of the fly. So far so good. Next then, I'm going to come in with a thread that's going to form up my body, and this is the Vivus. It's at 8.0. It's the E04, and as you can see it's a red thread. Again, because this is going to form the bulk of my body, I'm not going to use wax. I'm going to catch just in behind the bead with a couple of turns, not too many, and then come down about 1/8 of an inch and remove my rat's tail. Now for the body, I'm using 2 different types of rib. I've got some wire here, and again this is designed for Perdigon nymphs, but it's a kind of orange wire. It's from Troutline, and I've got a hank of some Flexi Floss that I'm also going to use. So the first thing to go in is the Flexi Floss, because that's the thing that's going to cause you the most angst when you're tying. So just make sure you capture all that in. It has got a habit when you've been using it to fray out a little. You need to discourage that. Then once you've got that into place, you can come in with your wire. I'm going to catch it in on my side. I want it the full body. Just get that tidied up a little, and then I'm going to bring my wire and my Flexi Floss down the shank of the hook. Now normally I would be stopping at the barb if I had a barb on this hook, but on this occasion I want to just come slightly by the bend. Now I've brought the wire down as normal. The Flexi Floss has come down under tension, and what I want to do next is just come back up the shank, keeping my turns nice and neat, touching turns if you can, all the way up the shank. And you want to create a little bit of a taper up here. Not too much though, make sure you leave plenty of room behind your bead here, because you're going to need that to finish the fly. So at this point you can then come in with a pair of scissors, snip your loop, and bring, I'll do your side first, but I'm just bringing that over the bead at the side, a couple of turns to hold it into place, and then I'm going to bring my side over, and what this does, it just adds a little glimmer to the bead, which you may not have picked up when I showed you the original fly in the vise, just removing the excess there. Now this idea, I can't claim it for myself. There's a chap, he has a YouTube channel, and I'll certainly put a link to it in the information bar up there, called Nick Thomas, and he ties a lot with synthetic materials, and I think it's because he has an allergy to some of the natural materials, and he uses this technique quite a lot, and it's interesting, and it just adds another dimension to the fly. So I've built my little taper there, and I'm going to now bring my Flexi Floss up first under quite serious tension initially, and then with each turn I'm easing that Flexi Floss so the rib stands out a little. Bloodworms are great patterns for these small Stillwaters, the healthy ones. Certainly down here in the southeast of England, they work really well, and in smaller sizes as well. You don't need to be tying on a big pattern. In fact, I would say under an indicator, a size 14 or a size 16 buzzer like this, bloodworm like this, works a real treat. So I've just secured my Flexi Floss in place. What I want to do now with my wire rib is just follow the Flexi Floss up the shank of the hook, so just behind. It's quite subtle, and once the varnish goes on, you know, it's very difficult with my eyesight, it's very difficult to see the effect the fly gives. But if you follow me on Facebook, you'll have seen the photographs that I've taken with a macro lens, and you can really appreciate there's quite a lot more going on with this fly than would initially meet the eye when you just give it a glance. So I've just caught that in. I'm going to secure it with a couple of wraps, and then once I'm content, I can twist away the wire and simply whip finish the fly quite near the bead. Just going to use 3 turns, because once I've done the varnishing process, the fly will never come apart. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now what I do with these, some people prefer varnish, some people prefer head cement. I'm going to use some Solaris initially, and I'm going to give it a couple of coats of Solaris. So I'm just coming over the bead as well, so where I've tied in that bit of flash, I'm covering that. Now, depending on the effect you want, you know, 1 coat might do you. I like to get a couple of coats on, and once I've got 2 coats of Solaris on, and I'm going to speed this up in a minute, so that you don't have to sit and listen to me waffling on about it, I like to add a coat of Sally Hansen. And I'm back, and here's the Sally Hansen. I could just keep going with the resin actually, and I'd be more than happy to do that, but what I find is with the Sally Hansen it adds the weight a little bit quicker to the fly. You've got to be patient with it, of course. You need to put it to the side to dry, but once it's dried it's solid and it's got a fantastic profile for sinking through the depths quickly. As I say, you can fish it straight lining if you want to. I like to fish this under an indicator in smaller sizes, so size 14, size 16, under a bung, and it can be extremely effective. I hope you found that of some use. Thanks very much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please think about clicking that button. And I'll see you all next time.